The All Progressives Congress has begun a reconciliatory move following the division from the election of principal officers of the National Assembly. The move is to reconcile aggrieved members of the party and bring them back into one fold with the aim of working to achieve same objectives towards national development. We're now being joined by a former director of organization of the All Progressives Congress, Professor Usiju Medaner. He joins us to discuss this subject as well as the government's swift policies and appointments of the President Tinubu administration. Good afternoon, and thanks so much for joining us on Newsday.
Thank you for having me.
Now, would like you to enlighten us, about the moves being made by the APC, to reconcile aggrieved members after the division caused by the race for the Senate presidency and also the Speaker of the House of Reps.
Thank you for having me once again, and I think it's a good move. Why I said it's a good move, whereby in the Senate in particular, you have 46 people that voted for Senator Yari. And this is an election that is enshrined in the Constitution, Section 50 to be precise. And when you have 46 people, that means no side have the two-third majority. And in the voting, you see a bipartisan pattern of the voting. You see person from the LP voted for Akpabio, person from PDP voted for Yari, person from SDP. It has gone across party line. And I think if you just go back to 9th Assembly or 8th Assembly, after the election in the House of Reps, to be precise, Honorable Femi was made the leader of the House. And when you come to the Senate, after Senator Ndume was the leader, eventually Senator Lawal becomes the leader and finishes the tenure. So you have to consult, and you have to have, with the kind of policy now we have in place, you need each and every person in that very place. You should remember, each person represents a constituency and senatorial district. You need that person. You need him to push your own legislative interests and legislative agenda, because when you come into voting, you need the whole people to support whatever piece of legislation or motion you have. So it's a good move, and I think these caucuses to be reached, not only Senator Yari's caucus, but all individuals, members in that Senate needed to be on board so that we can have a very robust debate, we can have a bipartisan legislature.
And speaking of those bipartisan legislatures, what prospects are ahead for those newly elected National Assembly members?
If you look at it, let me just even remind me, if you look at the Yari side, you have ranking legislators there, actually, from the document we have seen going around. I'm not certain about the authenticity of that document, but actually in the document, you see those ranking legislatures at this other side, and the other side you see most of them, they are fresh legislatures. So I think that's why they needed to be reached, because the committee work, the parliamentary proceedings, and so on and so forth, you need those qualified and those ranking members to guide others. So definitely it's a very good one, and what we're expecting, as you ask, definitely from time they will pick up, because it's about consultation. It's about reaching each other. It's about the president of the Senate and the leader of the House and the minority caucus and so on and so forth. They have to work hard to make their member to be in tune with legislative proceedings. And experts needed to be engaged too, so as to guide those fresh legislators. It's something that actually required a lot of people on board, not just those elected. There are so many people, apart from their 5 statutory legislative aides. You need experts to help you, to guide you.
Now, talking about some remaining principal officers like the Senate Leader, Deputy Senate Leader, Senate Whip, and Senate Minority Whip, I'm wondering, will the APC be towing the zoning route, in choosing who emerges, as one of those officers, or will it be the principal officers, I'm talking about the Senate President or maybe the Speaker of the House of Reps, that will make the selection?
The Parliament or the National Assembly is guided by three things. One, precedents, norms, and convention. And it is in the norms of the National Assembly and the precedents that party is involved in selecting who should be the leader of the House and other principal officers. The same thing within the House. So what they should do, what we're expecting, the party will guide. If you could remember, the parties came up with a position, but people exercise their franchise, which is constitutional. It has strengthened our parliamentary system, actually, and I think it should be seen that way. Nobody should be seeing it as maybe going against rules or whatever. No, it has strengthened the process. Now, in terms of selecting who should be the leader, leadership is followership. Then you think of who has that followership, who can bring others on board. And I think that's why I think ruling party from time immemorial, those that contested against each other were considered to be leaders. So the party will look at those histories, because you have to look at precedents in whatever you're going to do, and you have to look at conventions, you have to look at norms of the National Assembly. Those are the guiding principles.
And still on this zoning of these principal offices, the four ones left, the Senate Leader, Deputy Senate Leader, Chief Whip, and Deputy Whip, some are wondering if the North Central will get representation in either of these seats. Your opinion?
You see, it's a matter of consultation, counter-consultation, negotiation, and counter-negotiation. You have to think over 1 million times in a second. You have to consult people. You need all the people there. So you consult them to see, who will provide such leadership role and who actually can bring people together, because we need that. There are a lot of things, as I said before, from what the president has started. You have seen what we have been seeing in the country. Actually, he has working the populace and the citizens. So really, you need this bipartisanship, you need the consultation, you need all what it takes to do it. But in the process of doing that, you have to, election is over, you have to keep all those issues aside and try to see who can bring these people together, who can move the National Assembly together, who can we have that kind of synergy between all parties.
Reconciliation at the national level following the fallout. The 2023 election was quite closely contested, and while acknowledging the right of his opponents to go to court, the president has also repeatedly criticized his opponents who have refused to accept defeat in the 2023 presidential election. But some people believe this is a bit hypocritical, because they are taking a leaf from the APC's Muhammadu Buhari's book, who challenged the electoral process several times until he eventually, emerged as president. Can you please react to this?
And I think maybe the president was somehow misquoted. Recently, he said that he doesn't want people to be engaging those insulting him, because he is the president. And really, when he comes into partisan politics, definitely some might insult him, some might say some other things. And going to court, actually, we have seen what is coming out of the court. To me, I have not seen something cogent, actually. Let us not just do content, but actually there is nothing tangible where you have election in 176,000 polling units. Some people are calling 3 people as witness, some people are calling 8 people. There are a lot of things that I think we don't have to say it, because election held in 176 polling units, and the onus is on who alleged there is fraud, there is election irregularities to prove. And I don't think there is that in this process. So you can't stop court from what it's doing, and I know the president will not come out and say something categorically like that. No, sometimes, you know, it's an era of social media and some people misinterpreting intention and comments.
All right. The Tinubu administration surely has hit the ground running in terms of enacting a few policies impacting the economy. Of course, the FX rate, student loan fund, fuel subsidy, and most recently, the appointment of new service chiefs with Nuhu Ribadu, our former EFCC chair, being named as the National Security Advisor. Your opinion on these developments?
Yeah, the president actually has fulfilled his promise when he was asked sometimes during the electioneering campaign, when he was asked, what do you think you will do from the first day? He said, we'll hit the ground running and continue running. And we have seen it palpably that the ground is running. And if you look at it, security is about who you know what you know. The more information you have on individual, the more accurate you predict the actions of those individuals, the more accurate you now protect the society against the evil of such individuals. If you look at those appointed, it's people that the president knows. And actually, he knows their mind, he knows their antecedent, he knows what they can do, he knows a lot of things about them. That is what security is all about. And I think he should be commended for this action. And we are seeing more. We don't know what will happen in the next weeks ahead. Every week is showing that, yes, I'm implementing my campaign promises, my campaign manifesto, and he deserves kudos. And all what we need is the Nigerians now, and I have seen across party line, and they are commending what the president is doing. And some of the opposition figures, the faces of oppositions, and they are coming out to commend such action. And that is what partisan is all about. And we need to move this country forward. And the president is doing well in that direction.
Well, one aspect where some people say the president isn't hitting the ground running is the issue of cushioning the impact of fuel subsidy removal. You know, a lot of Nigerians have been hit hard, businesses have been hit hard, taxi drivers are complaining. And, you know, I'm just wondering, you know, if he's going to remove subsidy. We know that he has said that he will come up with a program to cushion the impact of the fuel subsidy removal. But shouldn't that have been done simultaneously, you know, with the removal of the fuel subsidy? Who would compensate the business owners, the taxi drivers, those that have suffered losses from this subsidy removal?
You know, let's be honest and frank in the issue of fuel subsidy removal. You know, the budget did not contain the subsidy to June. And again, there are a lot of plans on the way to cushion the effect of the subsidy removal, and there is this issue of trying to have an alternative energy to fuel or to power our vehicles, the CNG, the compressed natural gas. The government has gone far in that, and I think it is going to help us to even have more effect than the fuel. And the issue of emission, it will address those issues. So government is trying, and I think it's all of us. When you have changes, you know, definitely the effect of the change will bring a lot of issues. But we have to bear for now and see what the government is doing. I think there is a issue of 700 and something billion to cushion the effect, and I see some people are saying, oh, it should go even to the taxi driver. The issue in this country is data. The data actually is the problem, to know who is qualified to get what. It has been our problem. Now, when you say the taxi, if you now go to the NURTW or the Road Employers Association, you might find it difficult to get data from such people. But I know government is trying. That's why the CNG is there to have an alternative source and other issues. When the money realized or recovered or saved from fuel subsidy removal start maybe making impact on the society, all this will be a history by God's grace.
We hope so. Let me continue on the line of some of the criticisms to these very forward-facing policies, particularly the student loan bill. As we know, in foreign countries, those who take student loans are literally bound for life, as they are quite large. But it seems that the tuition here is not as much. But there are fears that even though it's a good plan, how will it be funded? There's also the issue of data as well. How many individuals will be receiving the loans commensurate to the amount that they earn? And also, will this actually impact the quality of education within Nigeria? Or is it just going to leave a bunch of already indigent students, in debt for life?
Sorry, I have not heard the last words, but let me just say something here.
I was wondering if
it may interest you to know.
I was wondering if it was going to leave millions of Nigerians in debt, in further debt than they already are.
It may interest you to know that these students paid in public school caution fees. Those some 5,000 naira. If you now multiply that money, it's huge amount of money. There was a time we did a calculation, almost 20 billion naira. This student could have a bank, student bank, where this loan can be given to them. It's their money, because that caution fees, I think the president should go and investigate about the caution fees in our public schools, 5,000 naira, and see what can we do with such money. And the student can even have loan issue of insurance and so on and so forth. Then we should think of bond. Once this money is given, you can have a bond. The student can work for so this thing. The certificate could be used for collateral or something of that nature. And there is issue of this JAPA and so on and so forth. You can use it to give people loan. From there, they could see reason why they should work in their own country. They should just have that patriotism. So it is going to work. It's people that make things work. If we are ready to make things work in this country, we can make it work. There are a lot of brains that can add value to whatever the president has signed into law. It's a matter of, even if there are some gray areas, there are some lacunas, to bring it back to the parliament and try to bring some things on it. And if it is a matter of policy, we come up with the policy and make it work. So it's something good. And I think we should commend the president for doing that. And it will encourage a lot of people to go to school. There are intelligent people, brilliant people on the street that are, even in this your studio, there are people that want to go to further their studies. And if such enabling environment is provided, they can go back to school and add value to the society.
Well, Professor Usiju Medaner, former director of organization All Progressives Congress, thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.